The stars shone bright against the deep black of space through the large crystal windows of the Galactic Council chamber. 50 alien representatives sat in curved rows facing a central speaking platform. Each alien looked different. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few glowed with strange light. They were the most powerful beings in the known universe. Ambassador Zorthak walked to the center of the platform. His blue skin reflected the light as he moved. 4 arms gestured to the giant screen behind him. His voice boomed through the chamber. Esteemed council members, we have found a new species in the outer part of the galaxy. The screen showed a small blue and green planet. They call themselves humans. They live on this planet called Earth. The aliens murmured to each other. New species were rare. They have just learned to leave their planet, Zorthak continued. Their ships are slow and simple. The screen changed to show Earth spacecraft, bulky metal containers with large fuel tanks. Counselor Velnara leaned forward. Her thin body was covered in golden fur, and her 6 eyes blinked in sequence. How advanced is their technology? She asked. Very primitive, Zorthak replied. They still use chemical rockets. They have not discovered faster-than-light travel. Their longest journey was to the small moon that orbits their planet. The screen showed humans in bulky white suits hopping on a gray, dusty surface. Laughter filled the chamber. The universal translators changed the different alien sounds into a single language everyone could understand. Look how slow they move, said Drax, the representative from the Taurian Empire. His massive body was covered in thick armor plates. They are weak. They have no natural weapons, observed another council member. No claws, no poison, no armor. Their bodies need constant fuel and rest, added a floating green blob. So inefficient. The screen changed to show humans eating, sleeping, and getting sick. They're just humans, Drax said with disgust. Not worth our time or attention. Most of the council nodded in agreement. Ambassador Leary sat quietly in her seat. Her people, the Solarians, were one of the oldest races in the galaxy. Her skin glowed with soft white light. Her large eyes watched the screen with interest. Before we dismiss them, she said softly, we should study their history. Zorthak clicked a button. The screen showed images of human history. Cave paintings, ancient buildings, wars, and inventions. They fight constantly, Zorthak explained. They kill each other over land, resources, ideas, and power. The council members shook their heads. Primitive and violent, Drax said. Definitely not council material. Ambassador Leary raised her hand. How long did it take them to go from their first flight to reaching their moon? Zorthak checked his data. 66 of their years. A surprised murmur spread through the chamber. That's unusually fast, Velnara admitted. A lucky accident, Drax dismissed. Look at them now. They've made no progress since then. The screen changed again, showing current Earth technology, cities, and society. I propose we classify them as a Level 2 civilization, Zorthak said. We will watch them from a distance but make no contact until they reach Level 3. Agreed, most of the council members said. They'll probably destroy themselves before that. Happens, Drax added with a laugh. Only Ambassador Leary remained silent, her glowing fingers tapping thoughtfully on her chair. Meeting adjourned, announced the head counselor. As the aliens filed out of the chamber, Ambassador Leary approached. Zorthak, there's something different about these humans, she said. Zorthak tilted his head. They seem ordinary to me. Weak, slow, and primitive. Perhaps, Leary said, but they adapt quickly. That interests me. Zorthak shrugged his 4 shoulders. They're just humans, Leary, nothing special. Leary watched him leave, her glowing eyes thoughtful. Meanwhile, on Earth, in the NASA Deep Space Research Center, 2 humans were about to change everything. Jack Miller floated in the space station's observation deck. Through the window, he could see Earth spinning below him. The stars stretched out into the darkness beyond. At 42, Jack had spent more time in space than most astronauts. His brown hair was cut short, and his eyes were always looking outward, to the stars. "Jack, you need to see this," Dr. Lisa Wright's voice called through his communicator. Jack pushed himself away from the window and floated down the corridor to the research lab. Lisa was floating in front of a large screen, her red hair tied back in a ponytail. At 38, she was one of NASA's best xenobiologists, even though most people thought her field was science fiction. "What am I looking at?" Jack asked as he stopped beside her. "These signals," Lisa pointed to wave patterns on the screen. "They're coming from the new Deep Space Telescope." "Natural phenomenon?" Jack suggested. Lisa shook her head. "They repeat, in a perfect pattern. No natural occurrence does that." Jack felt his heart beat faster. "Are you saying—" "These are artificial signals, Jack," Lisa said, her eyes wide with excitement. "And they're not from Earth." Jack looked closer at the screen. "Could it be interference from one of our satellites?" "I checked 3 times," Lisa said. "These signals are coming from beyond our solar system." Jack pushed himself back slightly, trying to process what this meant. "We need to tell Director Peterson," he said finally. Lisa nodded. "I've already called an emergency meeting for 800 tomorrow." Jack looked back at the signal patterns. "If you're right about this, everything changes," Lisa finished. "Everything." In the days that followed, the signals were confirmed by other space agencies around the world. They were artificial and coming from a star system 20 light-years away. The news spread across Earth like wildfire. Humans looked up at the night sky with new wonder and fear. They were not alone in the universe. What they didn't know was that they were already being watched, and that the mighty Galactic Council had greatly underestimated them. In his private chambers, Zorthak received an urgent message. The humans had detected signals from one of the Council's observation posts. "Impossible," he muttered. "Their technology isn't advanced enough." But the evidence was clear. Somehow the humans had built a space telescope powerful enough to detect. Galactic Council communications. Zorthak remembered Ambassador Leary's words. They adapt quickly. Perhaps these humans deserved more attention after all. Back on Earth, Jack and Lisa stood in the White House Rose Garden. The president had just announced their discovery to the world. News cameras flashed as reporters shouted questions. "Dr. Wright, what do you think these aliens look like?" a reporter called out. Lisa smiled. "I have no idea, but I can't wait to find out." "Captain Miller, are you afraid of what we might find out there?" another asked. Jack looked up at the blue sky, knowing that beyond it lay answers to questions humans had asked since they first looked up at the stars. "No," he said. "I'm not afraid. This is what we've been waiting for our entire history." What Jack didn't know was how soon he would get his wish. The Galactic Council had changed its plans. First contact with humans would happen much sooner than they had intended, and when it did, the Council would learn that dismissing humans had been their first big mistake. 6 months passed since Jack and Lisa discovered the alien signals. The world had changed. Countries that once fought now worked together. Scientists shared their research openly. A new sense of unity spread across Earth as humans prepared to meet aliens. What humans didn't know was that the Galactic Council was watching their every move. "The humans are building new spacecraft," Zorthak reported to the Council. "They are faster and more advanced than before." Drax of the Taurian Empire snorted. "Still primitive by our standards." On the other side of the galaxy, Captain Dren of the Taurian Empire stood on the bridge of his massive ship. His thick armor plates shone under the bright lights. His yellow eyes narrowed as he looked at the planet on the screen. "XC-42, he said to his crew. "Rich in rare elements we need for our ships. Begin landing operations." His second-in-command, Officer Mrek, looked uncomfortable. "Sir, our scanners detect something unusual in orbit around the planet." "What is it?" Dren demanded. "Small vessels. Not from any known Council species," Mrek replied. Dren growled. "Show me." The screen changed to show several small ships orbiting the planet. They were clearly made with less advanced technology than Taurian vessels. Magnify, Dren ordered. The image zoomed in to show a symbol painted on one of the ships. The outline of Earth with stars around it. Humans? Dren couldn't believe it. How did they get here before us? Officer Marek checked the data. They appear to have developed a new form of propulsion. It's not as fast as our ships, but they started their journey earlier. Impossible! Dren slammed his fist down. The Council said they were primitive. They shouldn't be capable of interstellar travel yet. On the surface of planet XC-42, now called New Hope by its human settlers, Commander Susan Garcia watched the alien ship appear in the sky. At 35, Susan had been a NASA mission commander before being chosen to lead this expedition. Her dark hair was cut short for practicality, and her steady brown eyes rarely showed fear. "They're here," she said into her communicator. Just as we expected. Chief Engineer Alan Blackwell stood next to her outside the main colony dome. At 40, his hands were rough from building the colony's structures, and his reddish beard couldn't hide his frown. "Are you sure this is a good idea, Susan?" he asked. "We could hide. They might not spot us." Susan shook her head. "No hiding. We'll talk to them." 6 months earlier, after detecting the alien signals, Earth scientists had made another discovery: traces of alien observation posts in our solar system. Humans realized they weren't just finding aliens. Aliens had already found them. World leaders made a bold decision. Instead of waiting for official contact, humanity would expand into space quickly and quietly. The New Hope colony was the first step, chosen because scans showed the planet was rich in resources. Now, as the massive alien ship descended through the clouds, Susan straightened her uniform and prepared to meet the first confirmed extraterrestrial beings in human history. In orbit, Captain Dren was furious. "The planet is in Taurian territory," he shouted. "These humans must leave immediately." Officer Mrek looked at the data again. "Sir, there is no official claim on this planet in the Council records." "Then we claim it now," Dren said. "Prepare landing craft. Arm weapons." Officer Mrek hesitated. "Sir, the Council has strict rules about first contact scenarios. We should report this to them first." "I am not reporting anything until these humans are gone," Dren said. "They are primitive. They will run when they see our power." On the surface, Susan watched the alien landing craft approach. 20 security officers stood behind her, but their weapons were holstered. "Remember," she told them, "we are peaceful, but we stand our ground. This planet has no previous claim." The Taurian landing craft touched down, kicking up dust. The door opened, and Captain Dren stepped out, flanked by 4 armed guards. He towered over the humans, his armor gleaming in the alien sun. Susan stepped forward. "Welcome to New Hope. I am Commander Susan Garcia of Earth." The Taurian soldiers pointed their weapons at the humans. Captain Dren's voice boomed through a translator device. "This planet is claimed by the Taurian Empire. You will leave immediately or be removed by force." Susan didn't flinch. "According to our research and the signal patterns we intercepted, from Galactic Council transmissions, this planet has no registered claim. We are establishing a mining colony here." Dren was shocked. These primitive humans had intercepted and decoded Council transmissions. "This planet is rich in resources vital to our civilization," Susan continued. "However, we are open to sharing. Our mining methods are efficient and cause minimal environmental damage." She gestured to a nearby mining site where Alan's team had set up their equipment. The machines were unlike anything the Taurians had seen, a hybrid of technologies that somehow worked together. "Would you like to see our operation?" Susan asked. Dren was confused. These humans should be scared, yet they were offering cooperation. It made no sense. "Show me," he said finally, his curiosity overcoming his anger. Alan led them to the mining site. "We've developed a new extraction method," he explained. "It yields 3 times more ore than traditional methods, with almost no waste." He demonstrated the process. The Taurians watched with surprise as the human machines extracted pure ore from the ground with remarkable efficiency. "This is unexpected," Dren admitted. We propose a joint operation, Susan said. We can share the resources and knowledge. Back, on his ship later, Dren faced a difficult decision. The humans' mining technology was superior to Taurian methods. A joint operation would yield more resources than forcing them out. What should we do, Captain? Officer Marek asked. We accept their offer, Dren said reluctantly. For now, and we report to the Council. They need to know these humans are not as primitive as we thought. On New Hope, Susan and Alan watched the stars from outside their colony dome. It worked, Alan said. They're not going to attack us. Susan nodded. Phase 1 complete. The Taurians will tell the Council about us now. Do you think they'll recognize what we're doing? Alan asked. Susan smiled. Probably not. They think we're just humans. Across the galaxy on 7 other planets, similar scenes played out as human colonies established contact with various alien species. None of the contacts were by chance. Each was carefully planned based on decoded Council transmissions. The Galactic Council chamber. Ambassador Leary listened as reports came in from across the galaxy. Humans have established outposts on 7 worlds, she told the Council, all strategically valuable. How is this possible? Counselor Velnara asked. They adapted, Leary said simply. Just as I warned they might. Drax snorted. A lucky success. Nothing more. But Leary saw the worry in his eyes. The humans were proving to be much more than the Council had expected, and they were just getting started. 1 year after humans made contact with the Taurians, a terrible sickness spread across the galaxy. The aliens called it the Crimson Flux because it turned skin, scales, and fur a deep red before attacking the body's internal systems. In the Galactic Council's medical center on Centauri Prime, doctors from 17 species worked desperately to find a cure. Millions had already died, and the sickness spread faster each day. We've lost another colony on Proxima 4, reported Dr. Zex, the head of the Council's medical team. His 6 tentacles moved frantically over the data screens. The quarantine failed. All populations are affected. Counselor Velnara's golden fur had lost its shine from weeks without proper rest. How much time do we have before it reaches the core worlds? 2 weeks, maybe less, Dr. Zex replied. The pathogen mutates too quickly. By the time we develop a treatment, it changes. The chamber doors slid open, and Ambassador Leary glided in. Her normal glow had dimmed with worry. I have strange news, she said. We're receiving reports that human colonies remain unaffected by the Crimson Flux. Dr. Zex's tentacles froze in surprise. Impossible. Every species has been vulnerable. Not just unaffected, Leary continued. They claim to have developed a treatment. Counselor Velnara's 6 eyes blinked rapidly. How could primitives develop a treatment when our best scientists cannot? Drax stomped into the chamber, his armor clanking. It must be a lie. They're trying to increase their standing in the galaxy. Ambassador, Leary shook her glowing head. I've confirmed the reports. Their colonies show no signs of infection even on worlds where other species are dying. Silence fell over the room. We should contact them, Dr. Zex suggested finally. If there's even a small chance. Agreed, Velnara said, though her pride made the word difficult to speak. On the human colony world New Eden, Dr. Kim Novak worked in her small laboratory. At 43, she had been Earth's leading virologist before volunteering for the colony program. Her curly brown hair was tied back as she looked through a microscope at blood samples. A young assistant rushed in. Dr. Novak, a Galactic Council, ship just entered orbit. They're requesting to speak with you specifically. Kim looked up in surprise. Me? Are you sure? Yes, ma'am. They mentioned you by name. Kim straightened her lab coat and took a deep breath. This was happening sooner than expected. An hour later, Kim stood in the colony's meeting hall facing Dr. Zex and 2 other alien doctors. Behind them stood Counselor Velnara, and surprisingly, Ambassador Leary. Dr. Novak, Velnara began formally. The Galactic Council requests information about your treatment for the Crimson Flux. Kim nodded. We'd be happy to share our research and treatment protocols. Dr. Zex's tentacles twitched with impatience. How did you develop a treatment so quickly when our scientists could not? Kim walked to a display screen on the wall and brought up images of the flux pathogen. We recognize the pattern, she explained. The crimson flux mutates similarly to viruses we've dealt with on Earth for centuries, particularly influenza. She showed more images comparing Earth viruses to the flux. Instead of trying to kill the pathogen directly, we developed a treatment that adapts alongside it, Kim continued. It's like teaching the body to recognize the virus no matter how it changes. The alien doctors looked at each other in surprise. That approach contradicts established medical doctrine, Dr. Zex said. Kim smiled slightly. Sometimes established doctrine needs to be questioned. On Earth, we've learned that lesson many times. Will your treatment work on non-human species? Ambassador Leary asked. We believe so, Kim replied. We've tested it on cellular samples from 12 different species, including Taurians, Solarians, and Orions. The results were promising. How soon can you produce enough for large-scale treatment? Velnara asked. We've already started production, Kim said. We can treat the most affected worlds within 2 weeks. The council members were stunned. The humans had anticipated their needs before they even asked. 3 weeks later, Kim stood before the full Galactic Council. The treatment had been distributed to infected worlds and the death rate had dropped by 93%. The council extends its gratitude to you and your species, the head counselor said formally. Your treatment has saved billions of lives, Kim nodded respectfully. We're pleased we could help. Earth stands ready to assist the galactic community in any way we can. As she left the chamber, Kim heard murmurs from the council members. No longer did they mock humans. Now they watched with caution and perhaps a little fear. In a private room after the meeting, Counselor Velnara spoke with Ambassador Leary and Counselor Drax. These humans are becoming a problem, Drax said bluntly. First they expand to strategic worlds, now they save us from a pandemic. They're gaining too much influence too quickly. They seem harmless individually, Velnara observed, but collectively, their ability to adapt is concerning. Ambassador Leary's glow pulsed thoughtfully. I warned you from the beginning. They learn from failure faster than we learn from success. Drax pounded his armored fist on the table. We should limit their expansion now while we still can. And how would you justify that? Leary asked. They've done nothing wrong. In fact, they've saved countless lives. We could restrict their access to council technology, Velnara suggested. That won't work, Leary replied. Have you noticed how quickly they advance on their own? They don't need our technology. They create their own. As the council members debated, humans continued to integrate with galactic society. Earth opened diplomatic relations with 15 species. Human traders found new markets. Human scientists shared research with alien colleagues. In the Earth Embassy on Centauri Prime, diplomat Carl Winston met with representatives from smaller non-council species. At 50, Carl had been a skilled negotiator on Earth before being chosen as humanity's chief diplomat. Earth proposes a new trade agreement, he explained to the group. Equal exchange of resources and knowledge, without the restrictions the Council imposes. A representative from the insect-like Vespid collective chittered excitedly. The Council has limited our access to medical technology for centuries. Would Earth share such knowledge freely? Yes, Carl replied simply. We believe progress comes through cooperation, not restriction. Word of these meetings reached the Council. Ambassador Leary watched with growing concern as humans formed alliances with species that had long been marginalized by the major powers. They're building a coalition, she reported to the Emergency Council session. Not through force, but through fairness. They're still just humans, Drax insisted, though his voice held less conviction than before. On Earth, government leaders met to discuss their growing role in the galaxy. The room was filled with representatives from every nation. The Council underestimated us, said the Secretary General. But they're watching closely now. Our next moves must be carefully planned. Jack Miller, now an admiral in Earth's small but growing space fleet, stood to speak. "We've gained respect through peaceful means," he said. "But some species, particularly the Taurians, see us as a threat. We should prepare for the possibility they might take action against us." Lisa Wright, now head of Earth's Xenobiology Division, nodded in agreement. "The Taurians especially don't like losing power or influence. They may test us soon." The Secretary General looked around the room at the leaders of humanity. "Then we must be ready, not just with weapons, but with wisdom. The galaxy is watching to see what humans will do next." The human colony on Rigel Prime was peaceful as the sun set over the mountains. Farmers returned from their fields while children played in the central plaza. No one noticed the 3 ships that appeared suddenly in the night sky. The attack came, without warning. Energy beams cut through several buildings. People ran for shelter as explosions shook the ground. Within minutes, half the colony lay in ruins. Governor Frank Wilson helped evacuate survivors to underground shelters. At 60, he had seen war on Earth before joining the colony program. He knew an organized attack when he saw one. "This isn't random," he told his security chief while they watched the ships from a hidden bunker. "Those are military vessels." The attackers made no demands. After destroying the colony's defenses and main infrastructure, they vanished as quickly as they had appeared. Similar attacks hit 2 other human colonies in the next week. Each time, the ships came fast, destroyed key targets, and left without making contact. On Earth, the Secretary General called an emergency meeting. Admiral Jack Miller stood before the world's leaders and pointed to images of the attacked colonies. "The ships carried no identifying marks," he explained. "But our analysis shows they use Taurian weapon technology." Lisa Wright, now Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council, shook her head. "The Taurians are being careful. They want to frighten us without starting an official war." "What do we do?" asked the Secretary General. "We don't have ships that can match Taurian firepower." Admiral Miller's eyes narrowed. "We have something better. We have strategy." 2 days later, on the bridge of the Earth Alliance flagship Star Voyager, Admiral Kevin Reese studied the latest reports. At 45, Kevin had once commanded nuclear submarines before being chosen to lead Earth's first true combat-ready starship. "Status report," he ordered. His first officer, Commander Diane Ellis, stood at attention. "All systems ready, Admiral. The fleet is in position." Kevin nodded. Earth had only 8 warships, far fewer than the Taurian fleet. But these ships were different from anything seen before in the galaxy. "Begin Operation Shield Wall," Kevin ordered. Across 3 sectors of space, Earth's small fleet moved to protect human colonies. But they didn't position themselves near the colonies as the Taurians expected. Instead, they hid a nearby asteroid, fields and gas clouds using Earth's newest technology, stealth field generators. On the Taurian command ship, General Vortak prepared for another raid. His massive form towered over his officers as he examined the target display. "The human colony on Proxima 2 has minimal defenses," he growled. "We will strike tonight, the same pattern as before." His tactical officer looked nervous. "General, intelligence reports suggest humans may have deployed defensive ships." Vortak laughed. "Their ships are no match for ours. Even if they fight, they will learn their place." Hours later, 3 Taurian warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Near Proxima 2, they moved toward the colony, weapons charging. "No human ships detected," reported the Taurian sensor officer. "The colony is undefended." General Vortak smiled. "Begin the attack." Suddenly, alarms blared across the Taurian bridge. "Multiple ships appearing behind us," the sensor officer shouted. 4. Human vessels had emerged from hiding in a nearby asteroid field. Instead of the frontal attack the Taurians expected, the human ships struck from behind and below, targeting engine systems with precise beam weapons. "Impossible!" Vortak roared. "How did they get behind us?" Before the Taurians could turn their ships, 2 more human vessels appeared from another direction, firing at the Taurians' weapon systems. The human ships were smaller and less powerful individually, but they moved in perfect coordination, attacking from multiple angles with remarkable precision. On the Star Voyager, Admiral Reese watched the battle display. "Continue targeting non-essential systems," he ordered. "Disable, don't destroy." Within 20 minutes, all 3 Taurian ships hung powerless in space, their engines and weapons disabled but life support intact. General Vortak stared in disbelief at his dead control panels. How? How did they defeat us so easily? Similar scenes played out at 2 other locations where Taurians attempted raids. Each time, the smaller human fleet used unconventional tactics and surprising technology to defeat the stronger enemy. Centauri Prime, the Galactic Council called an emergency session. Ambassador Nicole Vance stood before the assembly. At 38, she had replaced Lisa Wright as Earth's representative when Lisa took a higher position. "The Galactic Council has received proof that Taurian forces attacked 3 human colonies," Nicole stated calmly. "These attacks resulted in 46 civilian deaths and significant destruction." Councillor Drax shifted uncomfortably. The Taurian Empire was his closest ally. "We have also captured 9 Taurian warships involved in these attacks," Nicole continued, displaying images of the disabled vessels. The council chamber erupted in surprised murmurs. No one had expected the humans to defeat Taurian ships. "What does Earth demand as compensation?" asked the head counselor. Nicole's expression remained calm and professional. "Earth does not seek revenge. We request only that the Taurian Empire acknowledge its actions, respect human sovereignty, and agree to peaceful relations moving forward." The chamber fell silent. Most species would have demanded territory, resources, or other concessions after such a victory. "Why do you not ask for more?" Councillor Velnara inquired. "Because peace is worth more than pride," Nicole replied. "Earth has no interest in humiliating the Taurian Empire or disrupting galactic stability." After the session, Ambassador Leary approached Nicole. "Your restraint is impressive. Many on the council expected demands for reparations." Nicole smiled. "We understand that lasting peace comes through respect, not fear or resentment." Leary's glow brightened with interest. "Your species continues to surprise me." On his throne, in the Taurian Empire's capital, Emperor Krazak received news of the defeat. His rage made the palace guards tremble. "How could our mighty ships lose to human vessels half their size?" he demanded. General Vortak knelt before his emperor, ashamed. "Their tactics were unexpected. They did not fight as we anticipated." Krazak narrowed his yellow eyes. "And now they offer peace instead of demanding tribute. What game are these humans playing?" Vortak had no answer. Meanwhile, humans continued forming alliances throughout the galaxy. The human approach to diplomacy and trade became increasingly popular among smaller species who had long lived under the shadow of the major powers. In the private chambers of the Galactic Council, Drax, Velnara, and other senior members met in secret. "They're integrating themselves into the very fabric of our society," Drax warned. "Their influence grows daily." "Yet they've broken no laws," Velnara pointed out. "They defended themselves when attacked but showed mercy to the defeated." "Perhaps," Drax admitted reluctantly, "they are not just humans after all." For the first time, the phrase human exception entered the Council's vocabulary, a recognition that this species defied standard classification. And across the galaxy, beings of all kinds began to wonder, what would humans do next? 5 years had passed since humans first made contact with the Galactic Council. What began with mockery had transformed into something no one expected. Humans were now everywhere in the galaxy, trading, exploring, building, and connecting with other species. The Galactic Council faced its greatest crisis in 10,000 years. 1/3 of its member species had called for major changes to how the galaxy was governed. They wanted new rules based on ideas humans had introduced: open sharing of information, fair voting rights for all species, and equal access to resources. In the Grand Council chamber, representatives argued loudly. The traditional powers, Taurians, Orions, and Arcturians, fought to maintain the old system. The reformers, led by the Vespids, Solarians, and other formerly marginalized species, demanded change. Ambassador Leary, her glow brighter than ever, addressed the chamber. The galaxy is changing. We must change with it or become irrelevant. Counselor Drax stomped his armored foot. These reforms will destroy thousands of years of stability. The head counselor struggled to maintain order as the debate grew more heated. We will vote on these proposals in 3 days, he announced finally. Until then, this session is adjourned. As the council members filed out, urgent news spread through the chamber. The Metagan Collective, keepers of the most advanced artificial intelligence network in the galaxy, had announced a new partnership with Earth. This news sent shockwaves through the council. The Metagans had always remained neutral and separate, guarding their technological secrets. Now they had chosen to ally with humans. An emergency session was immediately called. The head counselor's voice trembled slightly as he addressed the assembly. The Metagans have informed us that they will share their quantum computing technology with Earth, he announced. This is unprecedented. The chamber erupted in chaos. The Metagan technology could shift the balance of power dramatically. We must stop this, Drax shouted above the noise. The humans cannot be trusted with such advanced systems. Ambassador Leary's calm voice cut through the uproar. I believe we should hear from the humans directly. Their representative is waiting outside. The doors opened and Dr. Paul Winters entered the chamber. At 55, Paul had once been a AI linguistics professor before becoming Earth's chief diplomat to the council. His calm demeanor and thoughtful speech had earned him respect, even among species wary of humans. Thank you for allowing me to speak, Paul began. I understand your concerns about our partnership with the Metagans. Why have they chosen to share their technology with you? Demanded Counselor Velnara. Paul smiled slightly. They said it was because we asked the right questions. What questions? Asked Ambassador Leary. We didn't ask how their technology could make us more powerful, Paul explained. We asked how it could help all species communicate better and solve shared problems. Paul walked to the center of the chamber and looked around at the alien faces watching him. When we humans first looked to the stars, we hoped we weren't alone, he continued. We dreamed of finding friends, teachers, and partners among the stars. We didn't come looking to conquer or dominate, Drax snorted. Yet in 5 short years, you've gained more influence than species who have been part of the council for millennia. Paul nodded. You've called us adaptable. That's partly correct, but it misses something important. Humanity's true strength isn't just adaptation, it's our diversity of thought. He gestured around the chamber. Most council species have a unified approach to problems. Your cultures evolved towards single solutions, but humans, we have billions of different approaches. We never stop questioning, even our own ideas. The chamber had grown quiet as Paul spoke. We fail constantly, he continued, but we learn from each failure. When one approach doesn't work, we try another, then another. Our history is full of terrible mistakes, but we keep moving forward. Paul's voice grew stronger. We don't want to dominate this council. We want to transform it, just as meeting you has transformed us. The old saying that they're just humans got one thing right. We are human, and being human means never stopping our journey of growth. As Paul finished speaking, the chamber remained silent. The council members looked at each other, seeing their shared institution in a new light. The head counselor stood slowly. We will consider your words, Dr. Winters. This session is adjourned until tomorrow. As the chamber emptied, Ambassador Leary approached Paul. I sensed your potential from the beginning, she said, her glow pulsing gently. Tell me honestly, did your people plan all this? Your expansion, the alliances, everything? Paul smiled. No one could have planned this. We simply did what humans have always done. We adapted, learned, and found our place in a universe far stranger and more wonderful than we ever imagined. Leary studied him. The vote on reforms will happen soon. Do you think they will pass? Don't know, Paul admitted. But whatever happens, the galaxy has already changed. We can't go back to the way things were. The next day, in colonies and outposts across the galaxy, Humans and their alien friends watched as the council voted. The reforms passed by a narrow margin. The old powers, like the Taurians, were unhappy, but even they recognized that times had changed. 1 month later, Paul Winters stood in the newly redesigned council chamber. The old hierarchy of seats had been replaced by a circular arrangement where all species sat as equals. Humans had been granted full council membership, along with several previously excluded species. "The galaxy enters a new era today," announced the head counselor. "One of greater cooperation and shared progress." In the years that followed, humans continued to surprise, frustrate, and inspire the older races. Their contradictions, being both warlike and peaceful, logical and emotional, fiercely independent yet deeply cooperative, made them impossible to predict or control. On distant worlds, children of many species learned the history of how a small, overlooked planet called Earth had transformed galactic civilization. They learned how the Council had once mockingly said, "They're just humans," not understanding what that truly meant. And when faced with seemingly impossible problems, beings throughout the galaxy began to ask each other, what would humans do? The question itself was perhaps the greatest tribute to a species that had journeyed from stone tools to the stars in what was, by galactic standards, the blink of an eye. On Earth, in the old NASA control room preserved as a museum, Jack Miller, now retired and gray-haired, stood with Lisa Wright as they watched a new generation of explorers prepare for a mission to distant galaxies never before visited. "Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this?" Lisa asked. Jack smiled. "Not in my wildest dreams. But that's the thing about being human, isn't it? We never know what's possible until we try." Outside, the night sky was filled with the lights of ships coming and going from 100 different worlds. Earth had found its place among the stars, and the stars would never be the same.